All right, nice, very nice. Welcome to the Central Students Podcast. I'm here today with two of our friends. We've got Sonia, of course, and Miss Dawn, who works at the Kimberly Center. So we're going to hear a little bit about her today. So say hi.
Hello. Hi, guys.
We're super excited. We were able to do a tour a few weeks ago. That feels like it was like 2 years ago at this point. We're all very tired today, so your challenge after this video is to take a nap. But yeah, so we're just going to hear about her story a little bit. But first, tell us one fun fact. This is not prepared or planned. Tell us one fun fact about yourself, each of you, before we get to our fun intro question. Let's all share a fun fact. Tell us your full name and a fun fact.
Okay, so I'm going.
Yeah, you go first.
So my full name is Dawn Westgate.
Nice.
And a fun fact.
Yeah.
The only thing that comes to mind, I'm a mom of 4 kids that I just love deeply.
Awesome.
And so I'll just brag on being a mom of 4.
That is fun. I'm sure there's been a lot of fun stories and things that have happened along the way. Nice. Sonia?
So Sonia and if you guys don't know me by now, then
yeah.
No problem. A fun fact about me, I have no clue. I also have 4 kids.
Nice!
3 of my own and a bonus. So.
Perfect! Awesome. My name's Josh Reed. My fun fact, since we're all going kids route, my wife's pregnant.
Yay!
So, did you know that? We're having a child. So, July 4th. And we have 2 dogs. So, soon to be, that's weird. That's the first time I really said it out loud. Soon to be dad. That's crazy. So anyway, fun facts about us. And so before we get into all the details about what we want to talk about your story and your ministry and what you're able to do, we have a fun intro question. Sonia, give us our fun intro question.
So our fun intro question is, if you can transform into any animal for a day, what animal would you choose?
Okay, so that's a good question.
This is a hard one. I don't even know if I have my answer. I wrote the question. I don't know if I have my answer.
So I guess maybe just along the lines of the theme of us being tired on
Yeah.
this Monday. I am tired today, so right now I would say my answer would be a sloth.
Nice.
Really like to take a nap.
That's good.
This afternoon's a busy mom weekend, lots of
I
kids
gotcha.
activities and things like that. So a little nap time as a sloth would be lovely.
Nice.
Awesome.
That sounds pretty good. I would go with, I'm also tired, but yeah, I would go with a mantis shrimp. You ever heard of a mantis shrimp?
No.
So a mantis shrimp, we're going to do a whole episode about it one day, because I'm colorblind, and the mantis shrimp has the most advanced eyes in the animal kingdom. Like, science time, we have like 3 cones in our eyes that help us see color. Mantis shrimp have 16, or something like that, so they can see colors that we can't even imagine. So I'd be a mantis shrimp. And I can also punch so fast they boil the water. They're crazy. Go on Google or YouTube or any channel, anything, and look up mantis shrimp. That's what I would choose. They're weird. The ocean. Go for it, Sonia. What you got?
So I had some time to think about it. I think I would be a bird. Just fly and see all the artifacts and everything that you normally couldn't do in a day. So
That'd be really cool.
Yeah.
We saw an eagle flying around our pond the other day, like a bald eagle.
Nice.
It was massive. I would love to be a bird. That would be really fun. Or a deep sea creature, like go down into the very depths of the ocean that we don't
scary though.
It'd be very scary. But anyway, that's good. But sloth sounds pretty good too. So, well, now that we've gotten past our fun intro question, everyone write in the comments on YouTube what you want to be, what animal you would choose to be if you could be any animal for a day. This is like, you guys ever read Animorphs? Ever read those books back in the day? Me neither. They're books though. They should make movies about those. I don't know. Anyway, the Animorphs. I never read them.
So the Babysitter's Club, then I'm totally down.
Oh man, that's another good question. What are your favorite? Did you ever read the what was that book about kids in a train? The Boxcar Children. You ever read that one?
Yeah.
That was a big thing at my elementary school.
Goosebumps,
Apparently,
maybe?
I wasn't allowed to read Goosebumps. There was a Christian version though, and some kid turned into a pizza. Anyway, we're kidding. We're gonna have to do multiple episodes here. So let's get into it though. We just wanted to hear from you, Miss Dawn, about your story and your ministry. So you work at the Kimberly Center. Tell us your role there, and also tell us a little bit about how you got involved with that ministry.
Okay. So I serve as the executive director at Kimberly
Cool.
Center. So we're Kimberly Center for Child Protection,
Cool.
and We are an agency that helps children, teenagers all across Marion County after there's been some sort of allegation of child abuse or child neglect, sometimes other traumas that can happen to children. So we're an agency that's part of kind of a complicated system of care that comes into play. We are a private nonprofit. I actually started at Kimberly Center 18 years ago.
Wow.
So I've been there for a little bit. We've seen a lot of change over the years. And I was thinking back about kind of how I got started in this ministry. It's definitely a ministry. I mean, it's a private nonprofit. Walking alongside children that have suffered the way that they have, it definitely requires you to have a strong faith foundation so that you can keep kind of being present for them during that. And so I was thinking about when I started at Kimberly's, and if I'm being really honest, I don't think I really understood what I was going to do. I just finished I was almost done with my bachelor's in psychology.
Okay, gotcha.
And the opportunity presented itself for me to come on board there as a child advocate. And I accepted the position and fell in love with the work. Really, probably within the first month of working there, there was this little boy that was brought in, and he'd been through a lot. And it was one where you could kind of see it on him, like you could see it on him. He was a little guy, and you could see the hurt that he had suffered. But then I was able to see what Kimberly Center does, and so I got to see how law enforcement worked with the Department of Children and Families, and worked with the medical providers and the forensic interviewers and the therapists and the advocates, and I saw this team just rally around this child and work so hard and so passionately to do everything that they could to create safety for this child and achieve justice for what that child had suffered. And it was, for me, like I think back about him, he's the reason I'm still there, quite honestly. Like it was just witnessing that firsthand, what was possible for him, and then wanting to make sure that any kid, in our community that suffered had the kind of passion from people in the field to want to help the way that I saw people help him. So I think that's kind of where it sparked.
Yeah, for sure. That's really interesting. 18 years. So did you ever think you'd kind of be in this kind of work? Was this like a dream job that you're like, I found it, or?
Right, no, so it's interesting. So bachelor's in psychology, so I really thought I probably wanted to be a therapist. So that was going to be kind of my thing. So starting at Kimberly Center made sense because we do have a fantastic therapy program. We've got 4 therapists on staff with us. But I figured out pretty quickly after starting there that I really enjoyed the administrative side of things and the collaboration side of it and the partnering side of it. So I ended up kind of flipping over onto the administration track. I ended up getting a master's degree in nonprofit management.
Oh, wow.
So I really found that was stronger for me, just being more in the administration side of it. So I get to have some amazing therapists and interviewers and advocates that work there with us at Kimberly Center. And then I kind of administer and kind of work at the back end, making sure they have the resources they need to do the incredible work.
Whoa, that's really cool. So you help to empower people a whole lot at your space. So, well, we were able to tour it a few weeks ago. Did you have any things that stood out to you there? Or?
It was it felt warm. It didn't feel like, a lot of these kids have to go to the police station or they're in a cold hospital room. You really felt warm and loved there. Like everyone we walked into had a smile on their face, and it was just comforting. It really was.
So go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, and we hear that sometimes. So one of the best ways to really understand our work is to do what you guys did. Just come in and take it to work, because it can be kind of hard to explain. We have this investigations program, we've got our treatment program, and we've got a prevention program. So we've got these different kind of wheels that are spinning there. And so just kind of walking through when it makes sense and seeing it firsthand. And I frequently hear from people, I actually hear from men a lot of times, I don't want to go tour at Kimberly Center. They're a little apprehensive about coming into tour. But there is a sense of calm, there is a sense of peace. And so we're actually founded as a children's advocacy center. So that's what we're kind of incorporated as. We're accredited every 5 years as a children's advocacy center. Okay. And one of the main components of being a child advocacy center is that you have to have a child-friendly atmosphere, because we want kids to feel safe from the moment they walk through our doors. So I'm glad. I always love hearing when somebody takes it to that they feel that, because it's definitely one of our main goals.
Yeah, I agree. It definitely felt that way. It was like warm and welcoming, and I suppose it's intended to give a sense of peace in the midst of difficulty.
Yes.
And so, yeah, it definitely felt that way for sure. So I know there's a lot of different aspects to the ministry you get to do. What's like, Is there a favorite fit? Maybe, I don't know if you're able to share like a favorite story over the year. I know you kind of shared a little bit. Is there like a favorite story over the years of?
Sure. So what comes to my mind, there was a young lady that came through for services. So she was probably like a preteen age, and she'd been exposed to some violence in her household. So she came to receive some therapy with us. And at that time, we were just an intervention level agency, meaning we intervened and provided services after a child had already experienced some type of abuse or neglect.
Yeah.
So she was coming to us because she'd witnessed some violence in her house, and we were providing her some therapy and support services. And during the course of that, we ended up talking with her about other things that sometimes happens in households. So we started addressing some things about like inappropriate touch with her. And as she had that conversation with her therapist, they did a workbook together. She actually went home that night and ended up disclosing to her mom that she had been a victim of some inappropriate touch. And so her mom was then able to report it, and she came back to Kimberly Center to receive our investigative services. So she kind of restarted the process. And came through our investigations program again, and she continued to see her therapist at Kimberly Center. And just as part of her healing from that too, and us having conversation with her, we realized that that had been happening to her for years and years, and she had never told anybody. And so we talked with her about, what helps you to tell now? Like, what was it that helped you to tell now? And what she explained was that she didn't have the words, or she didn't know who to tell or how to tell, because it started at a time when she didn't have that verbal ability to really explain it. But once we did that workbook with her, it clicked into place, and she had the words and the knowledge and the know-how of what to do. And so that helped her to tell. So her story and her sharing that with us helped us to find the passion to launch our prevention initiative. So now we're actually going into all the schools in Marion County and teaching a prevention curriculum called Child Safety Matters. So we're making sure that our kids throughout Marion County are getting that information that they need, and we're helping parents have the information that they need too to make good, safe decisions for their kids, so that hopefully we can prevent another kid from having to come through those intervention services. One day maybe shut down the doors of Kimberly Center because we've just prevented it from happening in the first place.
That would be amazing, right? And so it sounds a lot like you're helping to not just empower the people on your staff to do their work, but you're empowering everybody to be part of the prevention. So, man, it's hard to hear all those things, and it's so sad to hear those things, but again, so thankful for what you're able to do. So what's a way that churches and or individuals can get involved or support you, or what does that look like for us?
So there's a lot of ways.
Sweet.
Things like this. We'll share about our mission and talking about what we do. We really do love to share. We love to do tours. Like I said, we are a private nonprofit, so we do depend on community donations. We depend on grants, contracts, things like that to support our services, and we do fundraisers. So the next event that we have coming up is it's actually on Saturday, April 9th, and it's called the Race Against Child Abuse. So it's a 5K, but it's a run walk, so you don't have to be like a competitive runner.
I'm not going to be exercising.
So it's a fun morning, and we're doing it somewhere new because this is our 10th year doing the race, and so it's going to be out at the new Calessa, which is
I've not heard of this. Fancy.
Yes, it is. So it's out there by Shalom, Westport High School, in that area. So it's the Calessa Township. It's where the new Olympic swimming pool is being built.
Fancy. We're cool in Ocala now, man.
It's true. It's beautiful. And they have graciously opened kind of their property to us to let us do our 5K out there. And they're also building a new academy out there, the Ina Colon Academy. So there's just lots of cool stuff happening out there. So we're going to get to partner with them and have some folks come out and run a walk.
Cool.
So if you go on kcrace.com, you can actually get registered and come out and run or walk with us. We still have some sponsorship opportunities available.
Well, we'll put a link in our YouTube thing, so look. I don't know if you do that on YouTube. Look down there, and there's going to be a link to get signed up and get involved. How many people have participated in the past? If this is your 10th year.
So pre-COVID.
Goodness.
I think we were up to about 400 runners.
Wow.
So it's a pretty big race. It's a lot of fun, and we have people out there. Like some people will be out there with their strollers, and it can be a leisurely walk. And we have cool medals this year. The medals. So the first 300 that cross the finish line get this medal, and it looks like a robot and its eyes light up. It's super cool.
Man, we'll have to exercise then, because I'm definitely, if 400 people run, I will be in the lower 100.
That's fine.
Well, that's super, super cool. So that's coming up April 9th. Are there ways that we can I saw you guys post even recently about a way that like gas cards, stuff like that. How does that work? Like if you wanted to get involved
especially
that way.
right now, so gas cards are fantastic. So
Okay.
you can always just, our office is actually very close to Central
Yes, it
Station.
is. It's right down the street.
So you can always, we're open, 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, so you can drop off gas cards. We like smaller increments, like $10.
Okay.
Wawa's great because people can get food or
Love
can get
Wawa.
gas.
Oh
again,
yeah,
so
well,
Wawa's
food's pretty good at
great,
Wawa.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, cool. So gas cards, stuff like that. If we wanted to donate, like, didn't we talk about doing a diaper drive sometime?
Diaper drive, right?
Yeah, so we can use diapers. We can always
Okay.
use like socks, shoes, underwear. We like to ask for new
Totally,
items.
yeah.
We just don't have a big facility
Yeah.
to launder and do all those things.
Sure. Well, and even I know that in the past, even in my own life, like donating things, you just kind of donate what, like in the past of my life, donate what I'm not using anymore. But you think about it, that's such a underhanded way to donate, and so I definitely donate new stuff. That's kind of where we would, I would advocate for that. Donate new stuff. So yeah, we would love to do a diaper drive sometime. I don't know if we have a date on it yet.
We don't have a date.
Summertime or something like
Yeah,
that.
that'd be great.
So we'll get some. Is there like a key? Like, is there a time of year when donations are lowest?
There's
that maybe
not
people can
really.
donate?
So April is a time that we like to do a lot of events because April is actually Child Abuse Prevention Month.
Oh, okay.
So it's a great,
Interesting.
like it's a good time, because there's a lot
Sure,
of speaking
yeah.
opportunities and things like that.
Totally. Okay. So April-ish, and so all right. Well, that's cool. So donating gas cards and diapers, stuff like that, and then getting involved with the 5K.
Okay.
So very, very cool. Well, hopefully you guys get even more than 400 people this year.
That'd be amazing.
I know there's a guy at our church named Rob Moffitt who Dan just told me about wants to promote it at our church as well, and I don't know if we're gonna have a booth in our courtyard, but we're gonna try to get more people involved. And I think especially for me because I don't run, so getting people to know you don't have to run.
Definitely
I'll try to
not.
still walk briskly, I suppose, and run every now and then. I set up when I was in college, we set up a 5K to raise money for Rafa House because that was right in the same town where I went to college, the headquarters. And because I'm very slow at running, that's why I hate running.
But
And
his nickname is Speed.
my nickname is Speed. Not a lot lately, but anyway, my goal was to be in first place for at least 10 seconds, and I sprinted in front of everybody. And then after 20 seconds, I peeled off to the right and just started walking. Everyone goes, "Thanks for setting the pace." And I was like, "Are you kidding me? Everyone's just jogging behind me." Anyway, so running. So do you run in it?
I do not because I'm just so busy working.
Of course. That's a nice way to get out of it. Very, very cool. Well, we'll definitely promote that and get people to be involved with that. But so I want to know a little bit about, you said you have a master's in nonprofit management. Where did you go? Because I think a lot of people these days have ideas for nonprofits, and especially like a lot of teenagers and even kids in college. Like I know when I was in college, I was super pumped up about everything I cared about, and I didn't necessarily know how to make it happen. So what was that like for you? Where'd you go to school, and how long, and all those things?
Yeah, so UCF.
Oh, nice.
Yep, so UCF's where I got.
That's in Florida.
Yeah, so it was great. And it was just the perfect fit, perfect timing for me. It was a great experience. And so I do encourage, especially anybody that's maybe that high school age, that early college age, and they're thinking about maybe a career in criminal justice,
Sure.
social work, psychology, anything like that. Child welfare is it's a very rewarding field to work in. It's tough. I mean, it's not an easy job, but it's so rewarding and it's so needed. And so sometimes, like I've had some of my nieces and some of their friends come and meet with me and just kind of do a tour. And because we have people on staff at Kimberly Center that are nurse practitioners that specialize in child abuse. Yeah. And then I've got people with that do forensic interviewing for us that have bachelor's degrees in criminal justice. And then I've got mental health counselors that have, their licensure in mental health counseling. So there's a lot of exposure to different educational paths and what different career paths those can lead you on. So if any of your students wanted to come and meet with me and kind of do a walkthrough and get a feel for that, if they're considering studying or moving in that path, we would love to kind of expose them a little bit to this type of work.
Awesome. Well, I know one of the things we're hoping to accomplish by just doing these interviews is helping people to know there are so many ways to follow Jesus with what you're interested in, with your passions, and with the needs that we all see. Because this is just one of the needs that, there are so many needs out there for not just kids and teens, but for everybody. And there's ways to empower people and do prevention and stuff like that. So that's cool. So if people wanted to do a tour, they just give you a call up there.
Absolutely.
Awesome. So we'll point people that direction for sure. So you have any last questions before we wrap up or anything? You have any final thoughts you want to share with us or?
No, just appreciate the opportunity to
Sure.
share, and just I always like to encourage people that if you're concerned about somebody, if there's a child in your life, a teenager in your life,
Yeah.
like open the door to conversation to them. If there's something that you're like, oh, they just seem a little off or something different,
Mhm.
you know, be somebody that they can talk to. So just open the door to conversation. If anybody
Yeah.
ever trusts you with telling you that something has happened to them, just don't be afraid to make some phone calls and reach out,
Yeah.
and let an adult know, or
Yeah,
let an
sure.
authority know that somebody might need help.
Yeah, because like you said, there was a story of a person who just didn't know how to talk about it, and
Right.
sometimes people talk about it to people they feel comfortable with, and it's helpful to share that to someone who can really, really help, and not just let something kind of simmer and fester, I suppose is a good word. But yeah, I think the last question I kind of had was like, what is this, just to kind of tie it back into, what does this have to do with God? And like God's a God who redeems and restores and brings life where we might have felt there was none. And you guys are in a healing ministry. I even had a professor who he said the word he likes to use for like salvation itself is healing, being healed from the things that have damaged us, or even sin or whatever it might be. But you guys are in a ministry that you're healing and bringing restoration and hope where people might not have felt that hope and love. So we're just so thankful for what you do and for the ministry you get to lead, and hopefully it just keeps growing and growing to the point that you don't need it anymore, just like you said. So, well, thank you so much for taking your time to spend with us today, and we'll get this posted and then hopefully get more people to run in your 5K or walk. So, hey, with that being said, thanks so much for tuning in to the Central Students Podcast. We'll sign off and say grace and peace. Have a good week. Sonia, you want to close this out like we do on Sundays?
Go out and be Jesus.
All right. See you later, guys. We did it. All right.